Because I spent, quite a number of decades on looking at the global carbon cycle and climate change dynamics and data analysis, I'm still continuing on that, and one of that is with Professor Rick Bellow, looking at extreme winds using the using the NAR data, which is a North American reanalysis data, on a 32-kilometer grid, and we're going to get extreme winds over Ontario for the last 30 years. And then, but on top of that, I added complex systems research because, like we were talking about, this is we're looking at a complex system. Climate system is a complex system. Within the context of the science of climate change, I mean, we saw incremental advancement in knowledge, but what took off was the political aspect of this issue, but it's understandable when you look back. It says, yeah, I mean, climate change is not just physical science anymore. It's also a socioeconomic issue. Right? From my perspective, the way it sort of energized young people, it was quite surprising, but pleasantly surprising. Well, there's nothing new here in terms of what they ought to do.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the other previous meetings have gone through the same exercise, and the message is basically the same. It's very difficult to change our economic system. Right? We're going to need energy no matter what, and to switch over to green energy is going to take time. So we're going to keep emitting CO2, fossil fuel CO2, into the atmosphere. So what that means is that you need to put more and more emphasis on adaptation. You need to develop green energy, not just for climate change, but because we want to improve our environment. Start adapting. Will probably be in agriculture sector. And those industries which are rely on ecosystem function, forestry, all the natural resource sectors will be hit hard, and the oceans as well. Change in acidities, change in temperature. You have changing. You won't be able to catch the kind of fish you were catching for the last 30, 40 years, for example, and not in the same quantity, anyways. That's why. And so, food industry. So more on the resource sectors, I think. So I think we really have to pay attention to the resources, the natural resource sectors, because food is, no matter it comes from land or from oceans, we need food.
We also need more research and development, more emphasis on education, things like that.
Well, we need a lot of education, right, to make younger people, particularly, more climate change smart. I think they really need to understand what climate change is all about. It isn't just warming. Right? There's a repercussion to that, and so they need to understand the complexity of the climate change, and they need to look at it in a very holistic sense. And as educators, is to make students aware of the complexity of the issues we're dealing with, and everything's connected to everything else. And you could study climate systems as a scientific discipline, and you could just focus on that. And heaven knows we need those people as well. But at the same time, I think we need to educate those climate scientists that whatever they're doing has a certain socioeconomic impact. Right? And it's okay to become focused on one particular component of the climate system, because it's complicated in itself, and you could spend your entire career looking at one particular component of that, trying to understand the details of it. But at the same time, you have to be consciously aware of the interactions that particular component has with other components of the climate system, because they're all connected. And not to leave out the socioeconomic component of that.
My name is Shishir Handa. I'm in the Department of Geography, and we just completed an interview with Dr. Kaz Higuchi.